All suffering is a spiritual alarm clock. I just want you to let that sink in for a second. Every single time you feel pain, frustration, or that agonizing, pulling feeling of being stuck in life, it's actually not a punishment. According to our source material today, it is quite simply a wake-up call. So let's dive into this, because this single idea has the power to completely, radically shift how you view every obstacle in your life.
Welcome to today's Explainer. We're getting right to the heart of a truly fascinating concept: how to unlock our deepest desires by using a very specific, practical spiritual toolkit. We're going to explore how intense longing actually blocks your goals, and exactly how you can get out of your own way so you can let the universe take the lead.
Our journey today is pulled directly from the profound philosophies of Florence Scovel Shinn, specifically her incredible work, The Magic Path of Intuition. What we're doing in this explainer is taking her deep, foundational, spiritual concepts and transforming them into actionable mental shifts. We're breaking down her ideas so you can see exactly how your own mind might literally be the very thing standing between you and what you want.
So let's start with a question that I know we've all asked ourselves at some point. Why do our deepest desires so often feel completely blocked? You know the feeling, right? You want something so badly, you work for it, you stress over it, and yet it just feels miles away. Well, Shinn warns us in Lesson 8 not to let our heart's desire become heart disease. What she means is that intense panic longing creates this immense internal friction. This desperation acts like a massive brick wall. When you want something just way too much, you are actually vibrating with the fear of not having it.
She makes a really clear distinction between two mindsets here. The material attitude relies purely on the physical world. That's when you're trusting only in unstable salaries, fluctuating bank accounts, and things that can vanish literally overnight. And of course, that causes intense anxiety. The spiritual attitude, on the other hand, is the deep, grounded peace of trusting in an infinite, universal supply. It's knowing with absolute certainty that if one source dries up, another will instantly appear.
All right, let's look at Section 1, the spiritual broom.
To actually move from that material panic to spiritual peace, we need an active mental tool, and that is the spiritual broom. We have to actively and consciously sweep out our doubts, our fears, resentments, and the belief in lack. Shinn explains that our words and thoughts are literally a form of radioactivity. When we harbor indignation or that intense, desperate longing we were just talking about, we are emitting radioactive negative energy. This toxic energy pollutes our subconscious, it creates absolute chaos in the house of our mind, and it practically pushes our goals further away. We've got to sweep it out.
And the promise of using that spiritual broom is profound. Now, you might be staring at a closed door right now, terrified because a big opportunity fell through or a relationship ended. But the source text is abundantly clear. When you sweep away the old fear and one door closes, infinite intelligence immediately opens another. You just have to be clear-headed enough to see the handle.
Moving right along to Section 2, the spiritual alarm clock.
This alarm clock rings loudly in our lives when we're spiritually asleep, usually when we are playing the victim and complaining about our circumstances. Shinn describes the game of life kind of like a cosmic game of boomerangs. Step 1, you judge or resent someone. Step 2, because whatever energy you send out mathematically has to return to you, someone eventually judges or resents you. You experience the exact pain you caused. And then Step 3 is the wake-up call. Instead of blaming others, you realize your own toxic energy just caught up to you, and you absolutely must use the law of forgiveness to break the cycle.
Which brings us to Section 3, invoking the law of forgiveness.
So, how exactly do we turn off this blaring alarm clock? We have to invoke the law of forgiveness. And listen, this isn't just about being polite. It is a highly specific, actionable, and vital step to break the negative karmic loop that is blocking your manifestations. You use a literal daily script. I invoke the law of forgiveness. I release myself from mistakes. By saying this with real authority, you are cutting the ties of resentment. You are neutralizing the toxic energy that has been holding your desires hostage. You bless the situation, you forgive the people involved, and honestly, most importantly, you forgive yourself.
Take a deep breath and just imagine that kind of serenity. The source material notes that practicing true, deep forgiveness instantly shifts the kaleidoscope of our reality. The muddy, chaotic waters of our mind settle, and the path ahead, which was previously blocked by our own anger and fear, suddenly becomes totally clear and peaceful.
Let's look at Section 4, the power of non-resistance. Now, this is often the absolute hardest step for any of us.
It means letting go of panic desire and practicing what Shinn calls a form of indifference, which doesn't mean you don't care, it means you are totally at peace whether it happens right this second or not. You stop forcing it. So how do you actually do that and get what you want? The text provides a highly relatable anecdote. Imagine this scenario. A woman's partner casually announces he is spending New Year's Eve with someone else, leaving her entirely out of his plans.
Initially, the woman's reaction was exactly what you'd expect. Tears, bitter anger, wearing a mask of heavy resentment. She was literally vibrating with anger. But as the text points out, this exact kind of internal friction and masked fury is exactly what blocks manifestation. By fighting the situation, she was cementing it in place.
So the crucial point here is the shift she made. Guided by these spiritual principles, she forced herself to drop the resistance. She genuinely blessed him, wished him a wonderful evening, and just let go of her anger. She stopped fighting. And the result? Her non-resistance practically worked magic in the real world. By the very next day, he completely changed his own plans and asked to spend the evening with her. Consider this totally fascinating insight from the text. A harmonious person never vibrates at the same level as a microbe. Shinn connects our emotional harmony directly to our physical reality. Think about it. If you are deeply harmonious and unbothered, you literally cannot be touched by disease, bad luck, or toxic people. No person or situation can hurt you without your own subconscious permission. When you drop resistance, you raise your vibration entirely out of harm's way.
And finally, Section 5, Infinite Intelligence.
To truly get what we want, the source material argues we must completely surrender the details to a higher power. We have to take our burning desire and figuratively put it under the altar, handing it over entirely to infinite intelligence. There's a very strict division of labor here. On one side is our job, we set the intention, we clean our minds with the spiritual broom, and we maintain active faith. On the other side is infinite intelligence's job, managing the how, the when, and the where. The text strictly warns us against micromanaging the universe. When we let doubt or fear dictate the how, we're stepping totally out of our lane and blocking the process.
To keep yourself firmly in your lane, Shinn offers another core affirmation. Since I am one with the Almighty Spirit, I am one with my good, because Spirit is my good in immediate action. You must assert your spiritual authority over your own negative, doubting thoughts. When the panic starts to set in, use this to remind yourself who is really doing the heavy lifting.
Think of a beautiful, vibrant autumn path. This is exactly what pure, unresisting trust looks like in the mind. The leaves fall when they are ready, the seasons change without our intervention at all. We don't have to force the universe to work, we just have to walk the path with active faith, knowing for a fact that the destination is secure.
The text summarizes an ancient philosophical truth so beautifully with this quote, "Let the inner warrior fight the battle." And this just means we must step out of our own way. Stop agonizing, stop forcing it, stop letting your heart's desire become an exhausting disease. Just surrender the fight and let the immense power within you handle the obstacles.
Which leaves us with this final thought. Are you ready to stop fighting your desires and let infinite intelligence take the lead? The tools are literally right in front of you. Pick up the spiritual broom, turn off the alarm clock of suffering through forgiveness, drop your resistance, and just watch how quickly the universe moves on your behalf. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really challenge you to put just one of these tools into practice today.